What's up, guys? We just got some new information about how the stats work in Mario Strikers Battle League, and some of you are not gonna like it. Yesterday, I made a video comparing maximum shooting versus maximum technique to see if either one had a more likelihood of getting goals. If you haven't watched that video yet, I recommend watching that first before I get into more details about how the stats work exactly. Anyway, in that video, I mentioned that there's almost no difference between maximum shooting and maximum technique when it comes to the frequency of scoring goals. But a more important question to team building is how much points in a stat do I actually need in order to get an advantage? And just when I started to test this more, I saw a Reddit post by user KitsuLeaf. And they claimed that the stats are actually sort of in a tier system. This goes against everything we can guess about stats. You would assume that there is a gradual increase from 1 stat to 25 stats. However, what this Reddit post is claiming is that instead of having a gradual increase, they are locked into brackets. Say you are looking at a bracket of 10 to 14, it does not matter if you have 10 or 14, they are going to act exactly the same on the battlefield. This would of course completely change how we're building teams, because instead of focusing on how many points we're going to have in each stat, we have to focus on where the breakpoints are in order to maximize our effectiveness. Okay, but Tones, you can't just trust a random Reddit post, you have to do a test yourself. You're right, we're gonna do that right now. By far, the easiest bracket to test this with is going to be speed, because character speed can just be timed by a set distance they have to run. So for this test, we're gonna go back to the basics and do what every child dreaded while they were playing soccer growing up. We're gonna run some laps. For each of the characters tested, I'm going to run back and forth from the top of the midfield to the bottom of the midfield, all the way across the line to make sure that I am going in a straight line. Then all I have to do is time exactly how long each character took to get from the top to the bottom, and then compare them to each other. If the stats work on a basic point system, we are going to see a gradual decrease of the amount of time it's going to take between low stats and high stats. But if they work in a tier system, we're going to see blocks where some stats are going to act exactly the same even if they don't have the same speed number. In order to get a nice variation, I'm using the following characters: Peach with maximum 25 speed, Toad with 21 speed, Basic Toad with 17 speed, Waluigi with 15 speed, Yoshi with 13 speed, Mario with 10 speed, Bowser with 9 speed, and Wario with 6 speed. Then I just punched the video into a video editing software to get the exact times. Let's get the obvious out of the way. The difference between the fastest and the slowest character was pretty big. Peach with 25 speed took a little over 3 seconds to get from top to bottom, where Wario with 6 speed took 4.4 seconds. After that, it seemed like all the other characters just met the exact spectrum I was expecting. But as I was editing, I noticed something weird. Take a look at these two pairs of characters, Toad and Waluigi, and Mario and Bowser. But they ended up having the exact same time. And remember, this is down to the exact frames. I couldn't just leave this at one test, so I'm going to try passing as well. At first I thought passing would be really hard to test because it's hard to tell how fast the ball goes. But it's actually pretty easy because passing affects your free pass as well, so all I have to do is measure the distance of the marker. For the passing test, I tried the following characters: Toad with 19 passing, Luigi and DK have 16 passing as a control, Yoshi has 14, Peach has 11, Waluigi has 9, Mario has 6, and Bowser has 3. If this bracket theory is correct, we should at least see some of the characters clumped together. Here I have all the characters lined up from the least pass distance to the most. As you can see, Bowser hits just below the center line from this point, followed by Mario going slightly further. Then Waluigi hits the tip of the fire, like almost at the tip of the fire, followed by Peach, also around the tip of the fire, but a little farther. Yoshi is almost to the circle line. Luigi is on the circle line. DK is also exactly on the circle line, and Toad is off screen. So you can see that we do have a nice linear progression, although that doesn't match our theory of having stats in tiers. The only reason that Luigi and DK were the same is because they literally both have 16 passing. I will say this is still a pretty rough experiment, so more numbers will need to be crunched, though it does seem like there is a linear progression as opposed to tiers when it comes to the passing stat. Let's just go back to what we know, which is speed is definitely in tiers. According to the community as we know it right now, the breakpoints are as follows: 1 to 4 is ultra slow, 5 to 9 is slow, 10 to 14 is average, 15 to 19 is fast, 20 to 24 is very fast, and 25 is the fastest. So when you're making your gear build, keep these tiers in mind as it is going to affect how many points you can put into other stats. For example, if you're going for a speedy Waluigi, you need to get to at least 20 points for it to be worth it. It is not worth it to go from 17 to 19. Instead, you should be putting those points into strength because that will make a much bigger difference. That's all I have for you in this video. Unfortunately, the data is changing constantly, so I'll try and keep up and release videos so you guys are in the know with what the community is finding out. But until then, I think my next video is going to be an optimization video as for what is the minimum amount of technique or shooting you should have to make the most goals. So subscribe down below if you want to stay up to date with all the new information we're finding in Battle League. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.